Set in the 16th century, Pioneers is an atmospheric turn-based exploration adventure RPG where you lead a party of travelers in search of treasure-rich temples, new tribes, and ways to go down in history. Ways to go beyond the horizon. To achieve all that, you complete quests, building up your reputation to become a more sought-out explorer by kings and commoners alike. Hello everybody, and welcome to Free Indie Games, presented by Clickus.com. I'm not generally a fan of hyperbole. I try my best to avoid it in both my videos and articles, which you can read at Clickus.com, but Pioneers is the best free indie game I have ever played, even if it comes with a slight stipulation. In our last episode of Free Indie Games, I talked about Fallen London and how rich that game was with opportunities. Now, that game isn't nearly as deep as its developers would have you believe, but there is still a lot you can do in it. Now, imagine a game where you can truly do just about whatever you want, albeit within a certain preset structure, in this case being an explorer. That game would be Pioneers. It starts out with your character writing a letter to their father, telling him that they've set out to become a world-famous adventurer, only for your ship to wreck. You eventually make it to a nearby town, and that's when the game really opens up. From there, you're free to explore the town, travel to cities, put a crew together to explore for yourself, find treasures, buy a ship, whatever. Anything you can think to do as a world explorer in the 1500s, you can pretty much do in this game. As you can see, it is a pixel art game, which I'm not known as a fan of, but here the art is done in a somewhat unique way. You're not just staring at loosely defined blobs and you have to guess what they're supposed to represent. Instead, everything is rendered in just enough detail for you to make out what it is, but also minimal enough so that you can fill in the more minute details for yourself. And don't underestimate the use of its color, with its bright and vivid default color palette or its more funky optional colors. I especially love the cyan and magenta scheme. Pioneers is a great game, full stop. It's fun to play, it's a joy to look at, and it's free, at least for now anyway. Its developer, Eigenlink, I'm probably mispronouncing that, is still developing the game, adding features here and there as he probably gears up for a more finished retail build. With that in mind, there are a couple of things that bug me throughout my playthrough of the game. Pioneers is turn-based, and you have a certain number of moves per turn. That's all fine and good, I actually really dig the basic idea, but this also makes travel a pain. Rather than simply using WASD or the arrow keys to move around, you have to constantly move by pointing at an area and clicking where you want to go. But you can only move to areas that you can physically see, with the unexplored parts of the map blacked out in a sort of fog of war kind of thing. You can't see very far ahead of yourself, unfortunately, so you're constantly stuck moving in tiny increments per turn. This is made worse by the clunky UI. It's needlessly complicated and fiddly. If you want to get something out of your inventory, you first have to right-click on your bag, then click on the individual item, then click back out of your bag and equip it in one of your hands. Then, if you want to use that item, you have to click on your hand, right-click on the object you want to interact with, and then select an option. It's a real annoyance that I never got used to. Still, Pioneers is one of those games that I sat down to play for just a couple of minutes to form an opinion about and record some gameplay of, and I ended up playing for over an hour by mistake. As of February 2017, Lank is still working on the game, but it's been slow going, especially with him working on other side projects. I'm not sure when or even if Pioneers will ever be finished, but even if it isn't, it's a hell of a lot of fun to play as it is now.